In 2023, live well at your own pace. This is the theme we want to share with you in these early days of spring. It's a reflection inspired by a classic work, Walden, Life in the Woods, by the American writer, poet, and philosopher Henry David Thoreau. First, as the new year approaches, please allow us to extend our sincerest wishes to all of you, our beloved audience, for a year filled with passion, joy, and meaning in every single moment, right here on the path each of us chooses. We truly hope that in 2023, all of us can live well at our own unique pace. And now, we invite you to listen to this reflection through today's story. There was a man who never followed the footsteps of others. In 1833, a brilliant young man named Henry David Thoreau was admitted to Harvard University. Whenever he had free time, he would write essays and publish them in newspapers. He did this purely for his own pleasure, never seeing it as a pursuit for achievement. He read extensively, but never wished to tread the old paths of those who came before him. He lived his own way. Thoreau lived during the 19th century, a time when the American economy was burgeoning, and society was making great strides towards an industrial civilization. In that era, everyone was in a frantic race through life. Some seized opportunities, soaring like a kite in the wind, accumulating wealth rapidly and becoming leaders of their time. Others remained dedicated to the careers inherited from their parents and grandparents, struggling but never falling behind. Some even abandoned the race to return to their hometowns and work on farms. And then there were those who, no matter how hard they tried, were always left far behind. In the eyes of many, Thoreau at that time was one of those left behind, a poor man who could never move forward. After graduating, Thoreau worked as a journalist for a newspaper, but his manuscripts were not approved by the editor-in-chief. He also co-founded and ran a private school with his brother, which eventually went bankrupt. Later, he worked in his father's pencil factory. In this job, he was highly successful. After improvements, he single-handedly produced a type of pencil with unprecedented technology. This was an opportunity for him to earn a great deal of money and become wealthy. Yet Thoreau decided not to further expand production and chose instead to end this work. For him, living a repetitive life, day in and day out, solely for the sake of earning money, was incredibly dull. He refused to endure the torment of repetitive work or the constraints of life, merely for the sake of a beautiful house or a luxurious meal, like everyone else. As a result, while those around him grew increasingly rich, Thoreau became progressively poorer. He couldn't even afford his rent. Whenever someone advised him to learn from others, Thoreau steadfastly replied, "I would rather sit on a pumpkin and have it all to myself than be cooped up on a velvet cushion. I would rather ride on earth in a cart drawn by a bull with a free circulation than go to heaven in the fancy cars of a through train and have to breathe through the lungs of an agent all the way." According to him, the most important thing in life is not to surpass others or to keep up with friends. Achieving success like everyone else does not necessarily bring true happiness. What matters is that each of us must find our own rhythm and pace. And because he was someone who didn't follow the footsteps of those around him, someone who allowed no rules to constrain himself, these very qualities forged Henry David Thoreau, a writer, poet, naturalist, thinker, pioneer of transcendentalism, and a philosopher of nature and its relationship with human life. It can be said that he is one of the few American writers after the 20th century to have such widespread influence and be loved by readers all over the world. Walk to the beat of your own drum. So, at the age of 28, when most people were chasing money and material possessions, Thoreau gave it all up. With a borrowed axe, he went to the pine woods by Walden Pond. There, he chopped wood, built his house, and cleared the land. And from this very spot, he witnessed the stunning beauty of Walden Pond. He built his house over a long period, entirely by himself, with just an axe in hand. Every day, on his way back from the forest, he heard the larks singing joyously. In winter, he chopped wood to prepare necessary materials, and by spring, the frame of his house was complete. Thoreau spent a little of his savings to buy used wood, then began decorating the interior of his cabin. In this manner, with his own two hands, without haste or pressure, nor idleness, he calmly and freely built a home for himself. For the next 2 years, he befriended mountains, rivers, and stars, conversing with birds, the lake, and fish. Thoreau's thoughts soared freely in the stillness of nature, in a simple life. Ultimately, these were condensed into his classic work, Walden, Life in the Woods. A tranquil lake, a self-built wooden house surrounded by forests, accompanied by the songs of birds, Thoreau's life by Walden Pond moved the hearts of countless readers worldwide. Walden influenced American literature, movements like Gandhi's and Martin Luther King Jr.'s nonviolent resistance, and countless modern individuals yearning for a peaceful life. He famously said, "Man has become the tool of his tools." And he also said, "If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours." In this marathon of life, everyone runs in different directions at varying speeds. Some start strong, others bloom late. Some live an ordinary life from beginning to end, while others are eliminated from the race early on. One's dreams, abilities, thoughts, or even luck can all become variables that set you apart from others. We can never be perfectly in sync with everyone else, nor can we always advance or retreat together. And if you constantly worry about, "How far have I come?" or "How much have I acquired?" we might miss our own pace. Only by running at your own speed, living well at your own pace, can we steadfastly weather the storms and reach beautiful new lands in our lives. Stepping to your own rhythm allows you to persevere through all challenges. When Thoreau set foot by Walden Pond, countless difficulties lay before him. First, how would he survive in this desolate forest? During the time he was building his house, he had to chop and carry wood from early morning, requiring immense strength daily. Yet his finances were meager, and he lacked the time to cultivate crops. So, each day, he merely satisfied his hunger with cornmeal and purslane. Many nearby villagers advised him against living there, arguing that no one could survive without bread or pork in the wilderness. Where would he get such things? But Thoreau proved to them that even with just cornmeal and greens, he could remain healthy. In reality, the true challenge for Thoreau was not starvation, but the winter. The winter by the pond lasted about 3 to 4 months, and on days of heavy snowfall, Thoreau's wooden cabin was as frigid as an icehouse. But he had many ways to overcome the cold. He would venture into the snow-covered forest, bring old logs home, keep fires burning day and night, and plaster the walls thickly. Throughout this solitary winter, night after night, he endured. They will walk to the beat of their own drum, without panic or impatience, undisturbed by the noises of the outside world, and unafraid to surrender to difficult circumstances. Whatever your choice, whatever life you choose to live, you will inevitably face challenges from fate. What we need to do is cultivate a strong heart, always remain calm, and ignite the courage, bravery, and persistence to continue on the path you have chosen. Footsteps in sync with self lead to happiness. In this book, Thoreau vividly recounts a summer morning when he was rowing a small boat, drifting on the calm surface of the lake. Reaching the middle of the pond, Thoreau lay on his back and fell asleep without realizing it. When he awoke, he found the lake current had gently pushed his boat back to shore. He said his heart was as free as a bird. Although his days at Walden were difficult, Thoreau experienced a peace and joy he had never known before. Every day, he had guests from nature. Sometimes a gentle breeze carrying the scent of flowers, sometimes a timid sparrow, and sometimes a foolish rabbit gone astray. Whenever Thoreau stepped into the forest, he always felt a powerful, primal vitality awaken within him. And as night fell, first, from the distant horizon, came the lowing of cattle, followed by the barking of dogs, the sound of the wind, and the flowing water. This symphony of nature made him feel no loneliness, even when he was alone on a tranquil night. In the book, Thoreau couldn't help but express with emotion, "My heart is free, joy and happiness always fill my home." In that state of freedom, Thoreau began to meditate, ponder philosophy, observe the world and all its phenomena, and simultaneously discover the true nature of his inner self. He read extensively, wrote prolifically, and met many profoundly knowledgeable people. His days living by the pond were a period that reshaped him. He was not a failure who achieved nothing, nor was he a hermit living in reclusion out of weariness with life. Instead, he was someone who lived fully, like a tree rooting deeply and firmly into Mother Earth, yet never forgetting to gaze up at the vast sky. Thoreau's story reminds me of this quote by Haruki Murakami, "No matter what anyone else in the world says, I only believe my own feelings are correct. No matter what others think, I will never break my rhythm." What you love, you will naturally be able to persevere with. What you don't love, no matter how hard you try, won't last. Therefore, only by doing what you love can you truly feel long-lasting happiness. And if every step we take is merely a copy of someone else's life, even if we achieve success, we will not feel true joy, find the real meaning of life, nor discover the freedom within our souls. Therefore, you need to understand yourself clearly. You need to see your inner self from the very beginning, let go of external interference, and plan a path uniquely your own. A reader once wrote to Thoreau after reading his work, expressing a desire to follow in his footsteps and live alone in nature. Surprisingly, Thoreau firmly refused, telling the man that everyone should follow their own heart and live as their unique self. This was also the purpose for which he wrote his work. He hoped everyone could become their own Columbus. Historically, Columbus ventured out to discover new continents. For each of us, we must discover our own continent, live and experience our own land. In this world, no two leaves are exactly alike, and no two people are perfect duplicates. Only by following our own path can we live a truly happy and meaningful life for ourselves. As a scientist once said, the best things always happen when you least expect them. So, you don't need to rush to keep up with your own pace. You will continue to walk day by day. Thoreau only lived by the pond for 2 years. I'm sure many might wonder, didn't he eventually give up on his own pace? But Thoreau explained the reason for his departure as powerfully as his arrival. He wanted to experience many lives and therefore didn't want to spend more time on this particular one. It's a truth that we can easily slip into a certain habit without even realizing it and then find ourselves in a rut. If you become too accustomed to the joy of success or your current life, it's easy to fall into old patterns. How many human footprints have been left on the surface of this earth, and the path of thought is no different. The great roads of the world have been worn smooth and dusty. How deeply etched are the marks of tradition and worldly conventions? In his experiment of living, the author at least discovered one thing. If a person boldly advances in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live as he dares to think and imagine, he can achieve unexpected success in the years of his own life. That is, you don't necessarily have to follow in the footsteps of successful people to be successful. You can absolutely take a different path to live the life you truly desire. Why do we lower our soul's standards to live with tedious thoughts and repetitive tasks, calling it conformity to the social majority and deeming it the right thing to do? Why must we, against all odds, engage in work solely to chase success, fame, or simply to earn money? Some say that all work done merely for a livelihood is not worth wasting our lives on, and indeed, that is not wrong. It's a truth in life that if someone constantly strains to keep pace with their peers, it might be because they've heard a challenging drumbeat, a need to catch up with someone to satisfy some need. And these footsteps also stem from fixed, unexamined ideas. In this life, we've adorned everything around us with all sorts of shapes and symbols, but in the end, only truth brings us meaning, and only truth can withstand the test of time. The truth here is the answer to one question: are you truly happy with your life right now? No matter how modest your life may be, you must live it to the fullest, live well at your own pace. Never run away, never resent or complain about it. No matter how difficult it gets, invest your passion into your current life. Even if you live in a confined space, you can find joy and illuminating light, just as Confucius advised. Do not seek rapid growth too urgently, and do not rely too much on external forces. All of it is useless. Wealth can only buy superfluous things, while the necessities of the soul can be acquired without money. Walden, Life in the Woods, will undoubtedly evoke different emotions in each of us. We don't need to fully agree, nor does everyone need to endorse it. But if you carry resentment, dissatisfaction with what you have, or are pressured by what you desire, by the things you are striving to pursue, or if you don't know what to do next, then I believe that simply immersing yourself in the original text of this work will help you find your own tranquil Walden Pond. And finally, a concluding remark from the author left a deep impression on me. He wrote, "Only when we are awake does the dawn come. The sun is but a morning star." In this context, the morning star is likened to a guiding direction for us. Thoreau hoped that for the rest of our lives, all of us could discover a new direction by following our own pace and experience a completely different life, because life is not about how much you have, but about the experiences you gather. May all of us step out of the rut, find what we truly love, and live well at our own pace. This story was made during the spring season, a time when we open a new chapter. So, I hope that the first thing this year is that we can have a different beginning than our old ways. And I wish for all of us to find our own rhythm and live life to the fullest with all our passion. Thank you for listening, goodbye, and see you in the next stories.